So then we are back with the more understandings. From the time of the second tabernacle services, where we find in the Aramaic English translation of the word. This translation comes from the original manuscripts of the prophets of the Israelic lineage, so then we can understand the time of the end, as per then Yeshayahu the prophet, 61st chapter. We find a very interesting area where then you read the cities laid waste for many centuries. Those are the cities of the Messiah. Prior to his ascension, he said, "Go therefore around the world and tabernacling and save the Gentiles." This is what the Messiah told them to do. So then, this time we are going to study an area where the Messiah then was explaining the scripture, tabernacling, via people being unaware of times and seasons. So then, we begin our quest studying then from a Gentile viewpoint related with tabernacling. So then, Luke, he is a Gentile. He is the person given an understanding of then what the Messiah is speaking of. So the Messiah then obviously is explaining the time of the end. And then there are many layers related with this specific understanding. You find sections of it in Michichiahu, the first understanding of tabernacling as per the Levitical understanding, 24th chapter. And then you find sections of in Luke. Those are layered. You have to understand the content. In order for you to understand the content, then you have to understand times and seasons. If you try to do by number, you ended up as the government trying to go into a hole over there in the Ozarks. So then, speaking of the time of the end, the Messiah then, obviously, he was pointing many areas related with the time of the end. And then the Messiah is given the understanding, and then every time you read Spring Feast, you are reading a completion of what then the Israelic lineage people trained for more than 1,000 years. I understand this factor. We came out of 1,000 years of the seat. What was the Messiah then explaining during the time he was then on the top of the mountain, and then his people began to boast because of the temple, the building, the temple? What was the response of the Messiah? Now we can turn over there and read. 24th chapter of Michichiahu explains what went on. Then the Messiah went out of the temple to depart, and his disciples drew near and were showing him the construction of the temple. They were boasting. The Messiah, he knew the temple very precisely. Did not have to be taught. What were they showing the Messiah that he did not know? They were boasting, saying, "You know what? Your future depends upon our decision. Do you understand this temple? You know, you can be king over us, and you can be, in charge of the entire temple." This is what they were trying to say in other words. Well, let's continue on. But he said to them, "Behold, don't you observe these stones or these buildings? Truly," he's saying, absolutely no area of this building is going to be spared. Not a stone is going to be left upon another that should not be thrown down. So what do we understand from this teaching of the Messiah? The Messiah is coming from an angle of the situation regarding times and seasons where these people were unaware. So the Messiah is opening their eyes of the Spirit, in quote, from an angle they did not even perceive. Let's continue on. And while the Messiah then was on the Mount of Olives, then his disciples drew near and were saying among themselves to him. Then obviously they were discouraged with the words. Similar as the Messiah then would each of them taken by the hand and give a very nice slap on the rear. He didn't do this. But what you understand from it would be as in the spirit. And then they said, please expound what you have said then. They came and they did understand what the Messiah was trying to say to them. They were being caught unaware. But then, not only unaware, but they were boastful. Oh, do you understand the temple? Do you understand this system? Do you understand this country? Do you understand our power? There won't be left any power in this country. So then, the disciples said, please say to us then what's going to be the end of the world. Then the Messiah answered and said to them, first, when they realized that they were wrong, they were mesmerizing themselves with a power that did not exist. So when they realized they were deceived, then they were in line with the Messiah. Then, when they were ready to listen to him, then he said, let no person deceive you. Another slap in the rear. Not only they had to humble themselves, they had to come to the Messiah and say, so then please, inform us, because they were wrong. Besides, he said, let no person deceive you. They had to hear it. For many would come in his name and would say then, he's the Messiah, she's the Messiah, or he's speaking the truth, or she's speaking the truth, or many would come in his name. And many would be deceived. Because of these people speaking, they understand the Messiah, or she understands the Messiah, or no, the other person understands the Messiah. Then the entire scripture is counterlies from a Messiah outside of the Holy of Holies. Insane. Lunacy. How can you explain a Messiah without the understanding of the tabernacle? Then for you, the set apart, are bound to hear of revolutions and rumors of wars. Watch out and do not be disturbed, for it is required for these then to come. But the end is not yet. So then, the Messiah is explaining layer upon layer. What do you link then, with Tiago, the 24th chapter? You have to link with Luke 1:7. For they were eating and drinking and taking wives and giving them to husbands until the day of Noah entered the ark, and then the inundation came, or the Vesuvius came and destroyed them. And again, as it was in the days of Lot, that they were eating and drinking and buying and having trade and planting and were building, but on the day that Lot went out from Sodom, then the Creator rained down fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them. Thus will it be in a day when the Son of the Creator is revealed. Reveal means gelah. How many people understand gelah these days? Do you understand gelah? Do you understand revelation? If you don't understand revelation or gelah, you are amongst the people caught unaware. You have to be honest with yourself, or honest with yourselves. If you can't explain gelah, you are not gelah person. Let's reread what the Messiah said. Don't take my word for it and anybody else. Listen to what the Messiah said. But on the day that Lot went out from Sodom, then the Creator rained down fire and brimstone from heaven and destroyed them. Thus wilt be in a day that the Son of the Creator is gelah. What do you understand gelah? The same word revelation means autumn feast. But then the great majority of people, they think revelation is what they understand, what they gathered information from their own makings, rather than gelah, revelation, autumn feast. That's what you read, the layer of understanding. Great majority of the world don't even know that there is an autumn feast. And they read through on, when the Son of the Creator is revealed, is gelah. It's the same word. What is the Messiah explaining? People are going to be caught unaware. And he is speaking of gelahing. He's speaking of tabernacling, speaking of autumn feast. We understand then we have to layer the Gentile level with Daniel and Yochanan at the same time. That's why you read for a person that is wise, a person with the wisdom, layer upon layer. There is no precept upon precept, line upon line. Those were translated wrong. What you must understand is layer upon layer. So then when you read Luke, he's explaining they're going to be caught unaware. And you are reading from a Gentile viewpoint. And this Gentile Luke perceived how people would be caught unawares. What has Daniel stated? People would go to and fro, a time of the 1,000 years of deceit. Then, at the end of the 1,000 years, knowledge would increase. From a statesperson viewpoint, there would come a system in the world where it would become neutral, so then the layers of understanding of tabernacling, the layers of understanding of Gentiles, and then the nation leading the neutral system would be such as people would have to make decisions. Because the Messiah, when he's revealing these, he's gelahing, showing, you have to have a neutral area for evaluation. People are caught unaware and destroyed because they did not evaluate. Daniel did mention of this nation of the end doing trade. He was a statesperson. However, the translators did not understand. Yohanan did understand. So the system must come and be absolutely neutral. That's why then the system coming is then neutral of every nation. They do trade, fine. They can gather taxes from, fine. They can produce, but the bulk worldwide is going to come from China. And nations coming out of poverty, they are not going to buy your product if you are then having for sale for a double price. They're going to get the cheapest. And you can't control what the Creator has done. If you think you can control the prophecies, then you are insane. The people of the law during the time of Yirmiyahu, they were crazy. They were lunatics. But they thought Yirmiyahu was lunatic. But then the world, because they were coming out of the seat for so long, then they're going to try to do what Europe did. You know, coming together and trying to make a system of their own. Daniel the prophet, the great politician, said no. They're going to try to adhere to each other, but they would not. We are understanding the Eurozone is breaking. Could they control? No. That's why Germany is removing the gold deposits from our country and also France. Because they understand the euro is going to break. And they have to recuperate their economy because of junky euro. So let's verify, evaluate, and do what the Messiah told us to do. Understanding the other layers, understanding the entire scripture from Ishmael, the closing of the age, the whole scripture have to be edited. Has to be worked through. Ever since the Creator spoke with Abraham until the closing of the age. From the first word the Creator spoke with Abraham via his dream until the shout of sulfur. And beyond the point of this age, then we have also layers of yet the new world when it is refurbished. The task is absolutely monumental. It's very big. Can we control? Absolutely not. The system coming is precise, and then if the system of each country, they are not ready for it, when the people are going to start downloading the system in their computers, they're going to be behind. They won't be able to get taxes from. And when the people combine themselves against the government, how are they going to win and then get lawyers to get through the system? Being caught unawares. You know, the government wants to do what they did during the time of the 1,000 years is absolutely contrary. They don't do a damn thing as they used to do. The world has shifted from roaming into the hands of the Creator. The events are taking place as recorded. And these are only refreshments. There are no news. So some people, because this person then is having this understanding out his opinion. Oh, no. No. It came from a long time ago.